Perhaps the most time-consuming, and when I say time-consuming in normal operation, it's maybe a couple of minutes, is the setup of the endoscope.
Setup and alignment.
Setup and alignment, exactly. So the first thing we do is we just extend the rail so that it's out of the way of inserting the endoscope into the device. To insert the endoscope into the Dragonfly, we just depress the plunger, insert the endoscope, and then release. And you can see that it's able to be rotated, but it's held rigidly. Anybody who's used an endoscope in surgery will recognize this is one of the popular means for attaching endoscopes to endoscopic cameras. And fortunately, the geometry of eyepiece is somewhat standard. There's a DIN standard for the shape, and so if the endoscope manufacturer adheres to this standard, it'll work in the Dragonfly, and virtually all endoscopes do work in this eyepiece. So you can see we have the ability to rotate the scope in the coupler, and to set up, we want the direction of view to be going outside to the case. So we look at the prism and we see that that's correct. The reason being is we can rotate.
Can you do that one more time with your hand just to show that it's...
So we can rotate the scope around the eyepiece such that we change the direction of view of the scope. So what we want to do is have the direction of view either going straight or coming out from the case. And we'll set this perfectly, but just approximately. We set it going outside. The next thing we do is we set the angle of the target holder to the nominal direction of view of the scope. This scope is a 30-degree scope, so we'll just rotate this to 30 degrees. The next thing we do is now we move the target holder till its full position to the right. So you can see there's a hard stop, and this puts the target plane right to the rotation plane of the target holder. Now we want to put in our setup target holder, which is also the target holder we use for our first measurement, and it's called FOV for field of view. So this measures the first basic parameters of the endoscope. The next thing we do is we move the whole rail system such that the tip of the scope is also at the zero. So I can move it slowly and carefully. As you get close, you can actually see the reflection of the tip of the scope, so it's not very difficult at all to put the scope in the proper position. So I'm get it right about there, and it's very close. The next thing to do, I'll increase the light a little bit. We can either increase the light by repeatedly pressing this arrow, or we can slide the slider up and down.